Well, our intention is to spend hopefully no more than 2 hours. But of course, if we are having certain fun and you want more answers or the conversation,
We're having fun.
yes, it can go on. And if you need to leave before, well, you can do it. We're just here for trying to explain something that usually takes weeks for us to explain and show. So of course, everything we talk, it will be just the tip of the iceberg. Um, so it would be very important for you to tell us afterwards, when I open the space, a little bit about your background, if you know certain techniques of healing, and what are you looking for? Because well, here Karin recently, well, not recently, I don't know when we started, but she was part of training that we did that was called in Spanish Guerrero de Luz. That would be light warrior. Oh, good memory. And it lasted for about 5 months. But it was also because I I don't remember. I think mostly every weekend we got together or so. We did meditations every day. For most of all of those 5 months, there was meditation. There was a few pauses in between. I channel a lot of information, and also we teach certain things that are in a way similar to what we're gonna offer now. But we do have many other layers of things that we can place into the teachings. We just received to name these 5 levels for these opportunities. So if you have anything that you want to kind of learn to work with, maybe we can offer something more specific into all of these layers that we want to, or levels that we want to teach. So let's.
Yes, we wanted to open the space chanting 3 times Aum.
That one I
Yes.
love.
So we can close our eyes. Let's inhale deep. Exhale. And now inhale. Let's stay a little bit with our eyes closed. Let's feel our bodies, ourselves. Let's feel our presence in this beautiful day. Let's connect with our roots. We are with our feet in the ground. Or feel your sacral where you are seated. Feel yourself grounded here. So we can allow the spirit, we can allow our soul to be here. So we can express freely, express through these gatherings, through these teachings, the energy. So we can go deep inside of us, right into our center, getting in contact with our origins, oneness, God. Just for a few seconds, let's do a soft pranayama that is closing our right nostril, and we just let's deep breathe through our left nostril. Connecting with our breath, focusing in our third eye, feeling how the energy flows to us, the prana flows to us. And through this pranayama, help us to relax. Listen to the birds, the sounds that are here, helping us to release the mind, release time and space. And now let's change of hand and let's lock the left nostril. And only inhale deep and exhale deep through your right nostril. Feeling your body, feeling grounded, being present. Connecting with your breath and sounds. Anything that helps you to stay here. Now you can relax your arms, just breathe deep. Both nostrils and exhale. Let's inhale deep all together again. And exhale. And one more time, inhale deep. And exhale. And
Good. Okay. Yeah. So just to start, we would like everyone to share just briefly if they have any background in healing techniques, healing, energy healing, or spiritual knowledge, a little bit just to have an idea of know how to express certain things to you all. And also, what are you looking for in terms of new knowledge and new tools that you can learn maybe through us? Would you like to start left to right?
Okay, I have a brief. I never healed anybody. Yeah, but I took part in some workshops about the energy and about the healing, gathering energy, like spreading the energy and so on. So I also finished this school that was about the energy, like I think almost many years ago, like yeah. So
You have understandings, but not a lot of practice in that.
I don't have like practicing in yoga, like
Yeah.
practice is like not healing, like not healing other. I'm doing it for myself, but this is like a more intuition.
And what are you interested in learning, or why you thought about coming?
I didn't think. I just
Good answer. Okay.
guided, I'm listening, I'm more
Okay.
listening recently, I am more listening that I'm creating, so it's a channel.
Beautiful.
It's, yeah, recently very much. So let me connect and think like, what would I, because this is the answer for you.
No, you don't just say anything.
No?
If you just feel that there's something specifically, or maybe afterwards you can tell us, maybe I would like to understand something about these or work these certain things. Just tell us later if you want.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Richard,
Well, I've studied a lot of different modalities. And, presently I'm working with, clearing emotional frequencies that are out of balance, with peaceful dogs and spaces. And just had a more of a commitment to that and really enjoying that. And, why do I want to be here? Well, interested to become really to raise my vibration in anyway. I always enjoy being around you guys, and been through a few dances. So I don't have a specific, but I would respond to you as like, well, I'm not thinking, I just know. It's just kind of like when I first saw you guys' picture and met you, it's just more of a know.
thank you, Richard. What was your name? ¿Tu nombre? Ah, ya. Bienvenida. ¿Te puedes sentar en el piso si quieres?
Sí, una silla más cómoda.
Whatever you feel, ¿te quieres sentar por ahí o podemos mover ahí? Eso. Cuida con el vaso.
I could otherwise switch. I was trying to get away from mosquitoes.
Yeah, they're hungry today. So we just opened the space. We were you okay with English? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we were just asking everyone to share a little bit about what are their backgrounds in healing modalities and energy healing and things related with that. And maybe sharing a little bit what you're looking for to learn or whatever, whatever fields that you want to upgrade maybe in certain ways, spiritually and in healing modalities as well. You want to share a little bit?
Sure.
Or maybe
Well,
at the end.
No, I-
Well-
So
Oh, okay,
okay.
sure. I'm Malena. I
Just arrived to the Caribe.
just arrived to the Caribbean 3 days ago. So around 2000, no wait, when I was 20, but just not 2000. Okay, 8 years ago, I started doing what's called the Exposición Corporal in Argentina, which is a modality of dancing classes where each person searches for their own dance, and it's has a lot to do with group settings too. And my teacher would often tell us to open the center of our palms, the center of our head, and the center of our feet. And many years later, I realized that was my first approach to energy work. And after that, I went into body work, massage. I think last year I just started doing massage workshops because that I really liked it. I realized that all the experience in expresión corporal, which I'm not translating because I would be like corporal expression. Okay. I done some Hindu massage, massage for soul healing. I did that, and you know about him. And I also did some energy work with the stable method, Jeffrey Allen, with Rachel, so a few others where I took a few things. So now I'm like this makes a lot of things. I'm looking for. Well, I've never gotten close to Reiki so far. I have a few ideas of what it could like, so I want to know more to see if I want to go deeper into it, or if it would fit into all that I do, or if it will give me a framework that I find useful. Yeah, that's what I want.
Thank
you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Avi,
So I think I began working with energy when I started practicing Qigong, just in 2019. And more than any of the yoga I had found up until that point, not having experienced Kundalini or any yoga that was other than being very much exercise instead of a spiritual practice. I fell in love with Qigong. And that's when I first really began noticing and working with my own energy. And then earlier this year, I went through Reiki training. So I'm a Reiki master now. And even as my teacher was teaching it, it was interesting because I just intuitively changed something a little bit, or just altered it a little to where it just worked better for me, made more sense and aligned with my background in Qigong. And then just little things like my teacher was very much about putting hands on, and I feel the energy when my hands are resistant, and just allowing myself to be intuitive with it. And so I was very curious and felt also learn more about this. Feeling like there's definitely more levels and more layers in what you learn, and with the energy work that you've channeled and have been teaching, just very curious about it. And I don't necessarily know why, or if there's an end goal in mind. Even with the Reiki, I've offered Reiki healing to friends and family. I'm not monetized it. I don't know if I will or not. Just having the ability to be able to, whether it's for myself, pets, plants, these gorgeous trees, or whether at some point it's something where I, offer it as more of a energy exchange type practice. I just see incredible value in cultivating these skills and capabilities in ourselves.
beautiful. Thank you. Samantha.
Welcome. I forget your name already. But welcome. Malin. So I studied 5-element acupuncture for 4 years in the States. And yeah, I'm not practicing, but I learned a lot. That's a whole other story. But I did practice when I was in school, and so I learned a lot from that. I would say just like Kundalini yoga, really, and also just not really knowing what is being birthed for me, but that something is, and it has to do with energy and healing, and we'll see. But I love you guys, so whatever you have to say, I'm here to listen.
Thank you, Samantha.
We love you too.
Yes, everyone.
Yeah.
So Karin,
Yeah, so I think the talk show I went today, everybody knows me. Well, I started with Kundalini yoga in a phase of my life when my daughter was very little and I had a burnout. And then after maybe 1.5 years of Kundalini yoga, I started doing Satnam Rasayan, which is a very, very well, simple in the sense that you only sit and put your fingers on the blanket when the person lies there. Very simple kind of healing meditation. Before that, I did acupressure, and I realized it helped my daughter and my ex-partner fall asleep by only doing acupressure in the feet, like 2 minutes.
You need to teach us that.
And they were gone. So, yes, I kind of felt healing was calling me. I wanted to heal. I wanted to do more of that. But I never knew how. And whoever I talked to seemed so unreachable. Like they studied for years something. And so here, and when I came to the Caribbean the first time, just for a short visit, it must have been May 2021. I got a treatment from Dan Springer, and who did craniosacral on me, and I only knew craniosacral like as the last part of a different treatment, be it osteopathic or a mixture of other things. And I liked it. I didn't know, I didn't feel that much back then, but I liked it. And he said, well, everybody can learn this. I was like, this is for me, sign me up, you know, I want to learn it. And so it so happened that I was for 5 days his only student showing up to class. There were more people enrolled, but they didn't show up. So yeah, it was great. I was getting immediate feedback, and we kept doing a weekly exchange in Brain Sacred, and I realized how I was getting more sensitive and developing that. And then when I met Satya and Navkiran, and they were offering for starting January an online class in Spanish on Light Warriors. You know, I was like, I'm learning Spanish. It's the right moment. It's, you know, all kinds of mixtures of things, and I can do it from home, which, you know, my 14-year-old daughter was great. I was like, yeah, going for that. So I expanded the healing parts with the quantum Reiki, which when I added it, even with Dan, who I knew quite well, and he knew me. Like even when I did half a session of Purina Cigarette and half a session of quantum Reiki, it changed a lot. Like I realized he was like probably like a 5-year-old boy. It was completely changed after that. I saw the difference. Also, my daughter. So yeah, I added that, and always curious to learn more. So,
Yeah, I remember the story when you did it to your daughter and she started cleaning the house for like 9 hours. So I don't know how long. So you did it again and it happens again.
So yeah, the first time 4 hours, the second time she cleaned all day. She said, "Oh, I've been cleaning today, tidying up and cleaning for 9 hours." I was like, "What?" Yeah, I only had 1 hour break since this morning at 10. I was like, wow, you know.
Yeah, we're going to explain a little bit why those things happen, and it's important aspect of one of the many aspects, but important one as well. Thank you for sharing.
Gracias.
And you, Tara.
Thank everyone. Wow, so I had felt the call to the healing path for quite a while, and I studied gamma breath work and got into my own modality of sound healing, of hands-on energy work. About a year ago, I finally took a course in Reiki that was meant to have Reiki 2, and it ended, and I never did get to finish. Since then, I've realized how energy work has played such a part in my life that I didn't even realize. Like before I was on that spiritual path, I used to do aesthetic skincare. I realized that at that time, what I would do and had no idea was really, I would tap into that. And then interestingly, it came to me too, that back when I was a child, like a lifetime ago, but I was in, with my family, very involved in religion and Christianity, which makes me cringe a little now, but I realized the benefit of some of the things that went on, and do go on in certain religions. Even the type of Christianity that I belong to is pretty extreme, and we believed in healing, and I very much stepped away from the entire church and religion in my early 20s, and now I'm just realizing how there are aspects that are so connected to exactly what I feel called to and I know to be true now. So that was always there and in the background for me in the foundation. And I now want to pursue this path of energy work and feeling so much, and I feel a direct call for Satya and Navkiran to follow them in their teaching, and that's why I reached out to you guys.
Thank you. You make this possible.
Yeah. That I, the owner of this sacred space, Nemetona.
Partnering soon with you in a way. Here, we're
There
gonna
will be more
a
to be
little bit
revealed, but
more to, oh, sorry. Okay, erase.
What Nemetona mean?
oh, Nemetona, she is the goddess of sacred spaces. She's also known as the guardian of the tree.
From where does it come?
The origin is Gaelic.
Okay.
And there's been like aspects of her that have been recognized even in Egypt when I've done the research, but the Gaelic is what came up for me. And I chose the name Nemetona, she was super. If you Google Nemetona, like the goddess, yeah, she's incredible. She is the goddess of the tree. Nemetona.
She's about to.
And the goddess of sacred spaces. So when I got the property the next day, I did a tarot card reading, and I drew the card that said, "Go create a sacred space," and it was the goddess Nemetona. And I said, "Okay, that's it. That's the name."
Beautiful.
Thank you, Nemetona, to have us here.
Okay, so let's move on, because we already spent quite a bit of time, but it was beautiful hearing you all. I think we have to explain a little bit our background and why we're here teaching what we teach. And I don't know how to summarize that, but I would say the following. Well, we both kind of had a similar path that led us to go out of the normal system. We both had a professional career in big companies, international companies, and something happened. I think you started your path 2 years before me. I think about 2008 or 9, something like that. And I think I was about 2010 or 11. That was a breaking point. And so basically what happened to us was, I will be talking because it's kind of the same. We didn't go through this together. We met years before in a company, and we met each other, but each one had their own life, married different people, etc. And so what happened to us, we felt this call from within very strongly to change entire life. So deep was that call that we got divorced of the couples we had at the time. We decided to sell everything and travel. She decided to do this 2 years before me, and she went on a journey of meditation, learning yoga, traveling in Southeast Asia, India, and so on. Learning, she studied Reiki there, and some yoga practices and we pass it. And so about 3 years after that, I follow. We didn't connect at that time. But so I went to my own process where I decided to finish my relationship, sell everything, and prepare to do something that I didn't know what to do. I decided to travel around the world. At that time, when I took the decision, I met her again. And she was already coming from maybe a 1-2 years of doing all these spiritual things. So she was, for me, she was an angel. And I was almost in the bottom of my life at that time because I was just starting to recover a little bit from breaking all of my life, relationships, couple, family things, friendship, work things. So I was really in a dark spot at that time. So she came and it was like, oh my God, there's something here. And so we started to get together and I was already with this idea of traveling. So I invite her. She said, oh, why not? I've been traveling for 2 years. Now we travel another year. Great. So we went traveling to India and so on. And we studied certain things together. We stay with also with the Ama. Ama is the Hugging Mother from India that Richard really loves. We stayed with her for a while. And I started my own path at that time. Well, short story, we came back after more or less a year of traveling and learning stuff, and we started meditating and doing certain things. And for a little while, I always say like maybe a year and a half, but probably was a few months. I don't remember well. I was really committed to meditation. So I meditated 1 or twice, at least for an hour a day, even 3 times sometimes. And suddenly I started receiving information. I started seeing things, so feeling things, so knowing things from within. And you were also in that path. We were doing it together. We were living in a small town like here, but in our country. And in my case, I started realizing about certain things about energy that I already knew from, we could say, other lives. And we did study certain things. I remember we traveled to Mexico to study a quantum healing technique. And hello, welcome, Chango. And so through the last few years, we've been receiving information about ways of healing. We did a study Reiki Usui, and we did the mastery of that. I don't know if you study Reiki Usui as well. Avi, did you study Usui? Okay. And anyway, we practiced it for a while. We have teach Reiki Usui, but we have been more drawn to our own, information because, at least for us, we came to Earth with a mission, and to say briefly is we always talk about ascension. It's to becoming one again with God and the Spirit. So everything we teach have that in mind, where we are teaching healing modalities, but at the same time, we're teaching certain understanding of spirituality that is related with oneness, is related with the one consciousness that exists and the relation we have with God that lives within ourselves. So every time we teach this, it's a spiritual teaching as well. And to be honest, we kind of use the excuse of teaching energy healings techniques to give people time to adequate this new knowledge and frequencies so they can achieve a higher state of connection. So of course, energy had a lot to do with this, but our purpose is to awaken very deep spiritual understanding and consciousness in everyone that gathers around what we teach.
And usually it happens when we teach our own path of healing, because Reiki is one path, yes, that we are offering that, but the other one is the energy healing and spiritual activation that we are going to teach too. All the people start to awake their own gifts that they have, because we are here in this planet with different kind of geometry, sacred geometry. So each one of us has our own gifts, yes, our own talents for healing, for contact with people in different ways. So when we start to work with people more deep, that happen in our courses, everybody start to awaken things and start to channeling and have a message very clear of what to do in their lives, or the energy start to flow very, very strong on them, or many different ways. This presence start to awake and be free. What we want, feel the presence, know that the presence is in us, is the one that is doing, giving, listening, or seeing, and to be free in that state.
So at the end, our main goal is to hopefully bring everyone to a state where you're so clear about how you create reality that you don't need to move to do anything. So that is the main goal of what we did. So that's why the last level we put it like divine touch, or this CAT abbreviation that we say is like a consciousness activation transmission, because the potentiality of us as human beings is that we have to understand that we create everything that is around us. Right now, you're co-creating the space, everything, the candles here, the stone here, the tree, everything. So when we deeply realize that, then we can do something with it and understand how co-creation also works between everyone. That is actually yourself, just divided in different perspectives. So the goal of the levels we teach is to kind of guide everyone into a deeper understanding of their own self, how you are creating right now through the limited belief that we have co-created on Earth. So there's a lot of things that we're going to talk that might be challenging a little bit your knowledge of spirituality, because there's a lot of knowledge here on Earth that, at least in the way we have received it, is not, well, it's limited. Yeah, not to say it's wrong, because there's no wrong or good, but there's this choosing point where we can choose what to believe, and depending on what we choose, there is, a higher path, a faster path to enlightenment, or for freedom, or for this oneness consciousness that we can all come to be in this lifetime. It doesn't need to be in another one. Everyone here have been living so many lives, and this is a moment where we are here to kind of help each other to regain certain understandings of all these lives in this present moment. And that is totally possible. It had happened to me. I'm still integrating, but I work in different levels. I know that I am in different planets, in different dimensions. I talk with all of them, I integrate them. And so part of the teaching, it has to be for you to understand that you are you have fractals in different dimensions, and you work with them all the time. And if you know how to work with them in the precise way to be aligned to source, then the influx of information, energy, it's in a level that you will not probably have felt before. And for doing that, you need to release a lot of baggage, especially a lot of thoughts, ideas of how reality works, how spirituality works. And then you're capable of aligning to this, your own true path, or your soul connection to source in a certain way. So saying this, I would, again, as you explained, just to be clear, we are offering, because Tara asked us about Reiki Usui, we're offering teaching Reiki Usui for anyone that want to teach. We're going to explain a little bit more certain things that we teach in there. And then we're going to maybe go a little deeper into what are the levels of the healing that we offer also. And we're going to play a little bit around with all of you to discover certain things, also things here, work with the stones, for you to have an idea of what you can do. While once you master certain level of connection with your true consciousness and your true essence, because we can modify many things around us that we're not aware, probably. So who is interested here to learn Reiki Usui? Anyone? Reiki Usui? That is something that, like, Avi studies very, like, maybe one of the first Reikis that have been taught around the world. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that. I wanted to ask if, well, I know you want, Sequoia texted me that she couldn't come, but she's willing to do the second level because she also did the first. And so we were planning to do the first level this weekend, but I think, well, we need to have a certain amount of people join. So if not, there's a lot of energy and more. So if we don't have that amount of people, maybe we're planning to do all the first levels again of February when we come back from our country. So if we don't do the first level, well, we can do it later if there is interest in that. And for who want to do the second level, for example, you, Sequoia, and maybe someone else, we're going to review a little bit the first level anyway, just to have a common ground there. We can do it the same weekend we're planning to do the second level. And then we're going to teach the third and the fourth level, that is the masteries level. So you can also teach others. But you need certain time, practice, you know, to handle with that energy and know how to do all the process. So want to share a little bit what we're gonna teach, maybe the second level?
Only the one.
Okay.
First one. The first level of Reiki is to know Reiki Sui is what, to know what is Reiki. Is we initiate you, we attune you with this life force energy. Yes. So we understand what is it. We learn how it works. We learn how we can work with Reiki, and then how we can treat others, ourselves, with hands placing specific areas of the body, and how to work with another person. So you have Reiki and you can treat others. Yes, that is level one. In the second level, you have another attunement, another initiation, and symbols are given to you. There are three symbols. The first one is the power symbol, that is to pray. The next one is a symbol to emotional, mental healing. And the next one is to heal by distance. So in this second level, you also learn how to make distance healing to others. And you can use it also for specific situations in your life, in your past, or in your future, or something you are dealing with it, that goal that you want to achieve. You can also give Reiki on that. And we teach a specific technique that is a polarity technique of like you change the polarity of the pulse of the energy. And change, you neutralize the pulse of the energy. It's like a specific technique that we learn in India actually, and makes a really, really nice balance in the person, in the chakras, in the aura. It's like, yes, you start doing, and the people, everybody's click with this technique, and it's really, really nice. And we teach that in the second level. And in the third level, they usually they have two types of third level. That is, go deeper in Reiki, so you receive a fourth symbol, that is the mastery symbol, that the energy can flow better through you. You learn different techniques of movement meditation. That's what we do, movement meditations. We teach a grid of crystal grid that you can do Reiki and just leave it there. Crystal Reiki, and you can do anything that you want, and the grid will work with that energy. Yes, and more things that are there and the fourth level, or 3B, that some people call it, is to learn how to attune our others, how to make the attunement to other people, and to how to teach other people how other steps and everything. So, and if you want to be a master of Reiki, if you want to teach others, of course, in the process, you will learn how to teach. So it's also a mix of learning and learning how to teach afterwards.
And just to share a little perspective between the types of healing, the Reiki Sui and what we teach, I do believe Reiki Shui is a very beautiful and it have a very powerful effect in, especially in who is attuned, and of course in who's given. But there is a certain feeling of upgrade when you go up into the level, especially coming to the second level and the third, fourth level. But in my experience, it's very limited in certain dimensions of humans to deal with different things. At least it's not specifically taught. Of course, when we attune into Reiki Sui, we always say the energy is the energy of God. And so the energy is intelligence. Imagine the intelligence that God has. It's everything, no? But for me, at least, that I can sense, see, and work with different dimensions in people, I have seen that even a very powerful healer of Reiki don't see or don't work certain things. And that's why,
Okay,
that's
what thing?
we're gonna go a little in, and I can explain why we certain levels of what we teach has to do with that. So I think it's a very nice thing to learn. I think in a way it's a beautiful experience. So I encourage you, if you feel drawn to Reiki Sui, to do it with us or with someone else. And also it I don't know if the word would be couples, but it like mix very complement very well with what we do. We actually teach a type of Reiki that is, of course, similar in a certain way, of as part of some of the levels. So that kind of tell you that there is more to know about how to ascend or heal or upgrade yourself and help others as well. So, well, the first level that we teach, we call it Divine Matrix Communication. That was the name that we received very long time ago. And it felt really good, the name, Divine Matrix. And the idea behind that is that, well, we are, I hit a big thing here. Everything that we experience, it's in a certain way a matrix. We are all related with that, especially because of the movie and all of that. And in a certain way, that is true. And every dimension that have been ever created, because we're really genius creating dimensions, and everyone talk about the fifth dimension and so on, and that we have a specific point of view, and that is probably very different from the standard knowledge. Every dimension is a matrix in itself, and you can be trapped in that. So what we also teach is how to go through all those layers that are unconsciously in yourself, because we're part of a collective consciousness in this planet and outside of the planet as well, and so on. So there's many layers that we have created. So Divine Matrix is the idea of you starting to understand how everything is created right here, right now. So everything have an energy and a frequency, and have a consciousness. But we sometimes are not aware of it because we run and we do many things, and we don't know if the place where we are or the stone we're carrying really have a good vibration. And to be honest, I used to work with stones, and I have discovered that no one really knows that most of the stones you buy, and even if you put it in the moon and so on, that's another story that we can talk maybe in the future. Don't really clean them in the depth that are needed for them to really help you awaken to your own self path, spiritual path. And so everything have a unique energy and a unique frequency. So in the first level, one of the most important things that we teach is to connect to the divine matrix, that where we are part of, and see and feel and measure everything that's around us. So you start having a deep sense of all the energies that you interact with. And the beauty about that is that the divine matrix is your own projection of your own point of creation. So when you start measuring the things in your house, displays, things, whatever, what you're doing, you're measuring your own consciousness, your projection or co-creation about things. And so when you start understanding that knowledge and measuring, then you will realize that there's so many things that you're creating in a very low vibration, and you don't know. So if you don't know, then how are you gonna uplift everything? And here is when things like what Karin was mentioning about her daughter cleaning the house and things like that, spaces. I've been healing spaces in people from other countries and distance and many places. We've been in temples, temples of gods in India, so many places. They none of them are in a high vibration state ever that I've been in. And I have measured them at distance also, just to know. And so this is a first deep understanding of how we create things and how we can influence things. We recently on Monday went to Amaser, for example, to teach the first class of Kundalini Yoga. So I sit down there, I connect, I measure the energy. It was terrible. And this happening every day. We've been to teach yoga always. Every place holds usually a lot of bad vibrations for many different things that I will mention maybe a little bit more. We're gonna go deeper in the teachings next week. So you would say, why a place where there's only yoga being taught and good things and this and other gongs and different type of things, the vibration is so low that actually if you are there, your frequency might go down unless you really are strong enough in a spiritual practice or knowledge, so you can uplift your frequency from within. So all of that is something that is way important for everyone to acknowledge, so you can liberate and change that. And that everything starts changing once you do that. Bathroom? Yeah, I don't know what it is. So, so the first level has to do about researching and understanding everything that surrounds you, everything that you have created. And you can also go to the past, future, and find out things and also start. The idea is that you start also kind of having a way, a simple one, but a way of channeling information. Of course, if you're measuring information, vibration, you're channeling the state of consciousness of that place. So the idea is that first level brings you to this point of starting to receive information, know things that are there that we are not aware of.
Like a communication, that's why it's divine magic's communication. You start to relate with spirit. You ask, you receive the answer. You ask, you receive. And we can use that tool for anything, any purpose. That's the idea of the course, knowing how to use it. We not only space or things, in every role of our life, we can have that. Yes. And that's what also we want to teach. To communicate, some people say the higher self, but for us is the spirit. For us is start to relate with the spirit, relate with your soul more constantly every day in everything that you are doing. So you start to have this relationship. Yes. That for us, you say it's like the first step for illumination. If you know what your soul is trying to tell you every day, and you go for that, yes, that's it.
We always say this, and we have taught this level probably, I don't know, 500 people or more. And I don't know anyone that really got into this specific thing. If you learn this first level, actually you have all of what you need in your life. If you commit to ask the questions, measure things, and start working with it, because you will have all the guidance that you need from your higher aspect. And so I will go briefly up to the next levels, just a little bit, and then we're gonna do some exercises for you to have a feeling or see what all of this is about. I mentioned before that the healing, the levels that we teach is a spiritual path in a way. Because what we're doing really is understanding your own consciousness and what you are projecting to create all the time. From your point of creation, you create an entire universe that we always talk about it like the holographic universe of what you want to play with it, what you want to play. So each level goes through different dimensions in a certain way to discover all the things you think, all the things you don't know you believe in. And so you can change them. So, well, all of these came in different order through the years while we were teaching, but now we have this sequence that it will make sense eventually if you practice it and you kind of have get in touch with it. So after we teach, and we teach with the pendulum, if you're familiar with it, we teach you how to use pendulum very well, because sometimes people study radiesthesia and pendulums, and I have seen there is a lack of certain understanding, and that's why people throw it away. It's not working. It always works, but there's certain knowledge that you need to know. We can also do it with the hands, or like also Richard do it, balancing your, just to receive information. But to do that, we do certain connections, initiation, activation, so you have a more pure channel from your higher aspect. So after that level, where we're going to play a lot with energies, we're going to teach one or two symbols that we have downloaded that will help change the energy, increase the energy of things or yourself. And we're also going to teach a symbol that is, I felt it so powerful every time I use it. There is a symbol to connect to your higher self, we can say, or your higher spiritual self, that will definitely increase all your perception and all your frequency.
This is the first level.
This is the divine matrix. Then what we get into is something that usually is very dark for many minds, but it's necessary to go into that. And through the years, some people have got stuck there. So we have learned how to take them from that dimension into a higher one. But we all have to go through this process. So the second level, we teach it because if we don't know about this in a very deep way, it's very difficult to go to the next levels of higher dimensions of understanding and your own path. So the second level has to do with clearing energies. That is something that I came with a gift that I discovered just by meditating, and I discovered that I can see or feel things and work with them and clear them out. So for me, it has been a very incredible journey to see how people change, things change, the behavior of kids change, or many things, just because you do something really good at that level. And if you don't do that level, you can do all the Reiki you want, you can do many other techniques, but usually everyone will go down to a similar state of being, because there's many powerful things that can hold our energy and our consciousness down. So there we get into all of the crazy things about science, sci-fi fiction, I don't know how to say, like dark stuff, and in terms of like entities, black magic, I don't know the words in English. What? Yeah, implants, all these things about influences of these ideas of reptiles and other type of extraterrestrial influences that can be physical, non-physical, nanotechnology, and so on. There's many layers on that. And so far, at least in my experience, I've seen that even people that have learned certain techniques, they don't get out of certain things out there. But that's just my experience. I'm not saying I'm the perfect guy in this, but I do have a lot of experience on this. And so we teach how to see what things are in you, places, things, and other ones, and how to make them, let's say, disappear, to say a certain way.
Yeah, they are interference, energy interference, very strong in us, that usually we don't see them, but they are there. So this is actually like one type of healing technique, very profound, that somebody can change. If they have insomnia, they just want to sleep in the night. If you have suddenly a really tiredness and you don't know why, yes, it's this. If you had headaches, it's this. If the children, they cannot sleep in the night, it's this. There are many things that are bothering us, and they are not ours that are happening. So this is the level. This is a really, if you have this level, you can help many people. It's
Yeah.
really amazing the
Actually,
that we can have when we release all this stuff from our field.
what is going on around the world right now is this level. You know, like where Earth right now, the collective consciousness is starting to unfold or see what is behind of this dimension. Usually, the standard knowledge about this talk about the astral level. This is related with astral level or fourth dimension also for many. And so only knowing this, you can help so many people to go out of that place that they don't know they're trapped in.
For me, this level is
The-
liberation, energy liberation.
Many
Work, walk your path, only yourself.
many thoughts that you have are not coming from you. Most of them.
Yeah.
And
It's like
and-
attack.
psychic attack.
Psychic attack. Yeah. So the mind is really crazy and comes from this realm.
And so yeah, that understanding of like, what if all of these thoughts and ideas I have, they are not coming from my true essence? Well, this is one of the big reason why. And because we're attuned with the collective, we are also channeling that information and understandings there that hold the frequency down. Sorry, you were gonna ask something you first.
So the second level has to do with being able to hear those interferences that we don't see or realize they're affecting us. Name them however you will, but not particular about any of those that you
No.
name, but just
It
that
could be any.
energy of interfering
Mhm.
that we have blockages or fears or whatever. And techniques to clear them.
Yes,
Okay.
that is the idea. And of course,
So-
names and all of that is just to relate with things that we have co-created on Earth that are in the movies and things like that, that by the way, they implant things all the time. So when you see anything on TV, any movie, if you don't know about this, you're getting all these things in yourself and you don't know why your behavior can't change. So this is very important. And so with the first level, for example, while you're connected, maybe using the pendulum as we teach, then you can ask for guidance. Should I see this movie or should I do this or that? And then you receive, you're in alignment. You know that this is the best path for you, not that one. And you don't use your brain. We don't have to use our brain more than just for mathematics and calculation. The rest is the higher mind. That is we access it through this neutral mind that we usually talk in yoga. And it's a connection through the heart as well.
And other important thing of the second level, that you start to connect with the higher self of the other person to do this treatment, because we don't do nothing without asking the true self of the person what she or he needs. Yes. So
We respect the free will. So we never force anything to anyone. We just ask and do what we are guided to do. So it always happened to me. People come with, I have this huge problem in my life. Usually that problem is something that I'm not supposed to help them, but I'm supposed to help guide and also take out all the rest of the things that are there bothering a little bit more so that person can see through it and get the wisdom. So we don't interfere with the soul path in terms of what are the things they need to do, but we take care of everything else that are not supposed to be there anymore. That is kind of a broad way of seeing what we teach. Yes. Oh,
When somebody has over a couple of years paranoid schizophrenia, like, could it be that it's, mostly outer interference, or does it become part of the person?
Well, in my way of seeing, everything is energy and consciousness. So it's always coming from a higher dimension, a higher, more light kind of thing. So thoughts or ideas or anything can bring you to a state of depression or bipolar and things like that. When those things tend to be too long in people, what I have seen is that it is part of their personality. So it's sometimes when you work clearing those things out, people feel a very deep loss. They cry or their bodies start crying because it's like getting rid of something that was part of yourself and your personality for a very long time. So I believe that all of the diseases can be worked out, unless it's the journey of the soul to go through it for experience. But if it's something that we can say it's outside, effects of all these things are going on in these levels that we're talking, or chemical things or things like that, I'm 100% sure that it can be healed. And the speed of it depends on the belief of the person that is receiving. So if you work also in the level of beliefs, and you can change the way they think about how fast things should heal, it can be quite fast. I always, and that's why I like yoga, for example, Kundalini and other things, is that, of course, it's always good to complement all the energy work with physical type of, movement, breathings, and so on, because you are kind of moving from the dense, very subtle, and aligning things a little more faster. So any knowledge that you have in terms of yoga or qigong or things like that, even massage and all of that is very good. And I think it's something to integrate in all the work. Samantha, you were, sorry, I kind of answered, yes? Okay.
Like, does it take a while to be able to see the block for the dense energy? So like, because everyone has their own like lens, how do you know it's
We teach a way to know what the person is having and the way to take it out.
Generally speaking, it's fast. So in the moment we teach it, you're capable of doing it. There's very few people that are so kind of in their own thing going on that can be a little more challenging, but it's very simple, very precise. You go do it and it works.
so like if somebody was in front of me and I learned it, I would do the same energy block as like you guys? Does
No,
that make sense?
yes, no, you're not gonna see the same things necessary.
Okay.
It depends, and this is kind of difficult to explain, but it depends in a sense in your own work. So this is why usually everyone that start a healing process, they tend to meditate more and do things to kind of go more deep into themselves in this place where there's nothing. And that is something beautiful about Satnam Rasayan that Karen was talking about, this yogi, the Kundalini yogi healing technique, that is to come to, it's very important to learn how to come to this center, this place of where you become nothing. So while you get to those deeper levels, you are gonna be probably capable of seeing and receiving more things. So if, for example, right now we say, let's check Richard, and you check Richard, and I check Richard, we might get different things, or some of them will be similar. And remember that you are co-creating your own reality. So when you're healing him, you're healing yourself. And when I'm healing him, I'm healing myself. So from that perspective, you can have you can see that he has something, and if I ask, I see he doesn't have it. So because we have different fractal moments and different universes interacting between it, and this is something that is very weird to kind of understand, and people can get lost, like, oh, why I got yes and you go no for the same question at the same time.
Like a reflection, yeah.
Yes.
Mirror, the mirror.
It's a mirror. So that's why when you start understanding this oneness, you start trying to heal as much things around yourself as possible all the time, and you get into service mode. Because why not? I'm here doing my service because if I do share my love with you, well, you are part of my co-creation, so I'm loving myself more. So that is the understanding that is behind. Yes.
another question, going back to it. You talked about how Reiki get attunement in different levels. From my understanding of what you talked and the other works that you do, that attunement is not conditioning to, or that's not conditioning you to that approach to energies, just an attunement to be able to work with that particular kind of energy or that way of working with it, but it doesn't,
Yeah, interfere or
yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't
That-
make you think that that's the only way to.
yeah, that is a very good question. Thank you for asking. When we start teaching, we always say, you know, this is a path, this is a way to self-learn about, you know, all the things we're talking about that are part of our co-creation. But we always encourage people to understand that you have to discover your own ways. And this is liberation. That's why I don't like, I would say, into duality, I will express it, but I don't like the way many things are taught. Because many people, when you go to learn something, they tell you you have to follow this path and you don't have to, you know, mix things. And although I understand that from the old thoughts mind that we had decades ago, centuries ago, nowadays we're talking about the liberation of humankind. And to do so, we have to understand what is our own path. So while we go through these levels that we teach and this information and knowledge, what will happen to you is that you will learn how to master different levels of consciousness. And so then you're gonna, at the beginning, you're gonna practice the things we say the way we say. But after a little bit, when you get sensitive and understanding all of this, you will start receiving your own ways. And then your soul will become the guide. And then is when you're going to be powerful. Because this is our power. You know, we're teaching what we have received, and for us, when we do it, it tends to be very powerful. But of course, if you follow someone else's path, you're never going to be in your own path. So that is very important. So thank you for asking.
We start teaching the pendulum, for example, but then second level, or maybe the end, we try to tell you, yeah, now you need to release it.
Yeah.
Now trust in what you are feeling, trust in your body, trust in yourself. So you can do it without a tool like that, even though it's very powerful.
But when you're saying the second level, like, when is it done by your teacher?
We didn't have time to figure that out, but we come back at the end of January. So our idea is that hopefully in February, we repeat the levels we're gonna see if we can do now. If not, we're gonna just move it to February.
But the first level will be next week, Saturday and Sunday of next week.
Matriz Divina,
Matriz Divina
Divine Math
Communication. That
Yeah.
will be the first level.
next week. If we have enough people that wanna, you know, start with that level. If not, we're gonna do it on February again. The Usui first level and second level, maybe we do it again, February, March, and then we will keep going. So yeah, we don't have the dates, but depending on the group and who we can figure that out together. So it fits well for everyone. All of this is possible to do it online. We've been teaching this online for a while, but we really wanted to teach it with people, human, physical people. So yeah, it's a
Smell.
yeah, of course. There's something unique about it. But this all can be taught at distance. So we might, if there is interest in opening to maybe distant teaching next year again.
Let's speak about the third level.
Yes.
So when we already have the communication with the spirit, and we don't have any interference, we can start going deeper in the person or in ourselves. So we start to manage emotions, beliefs, programming in mind, chakras, aura, light bodies are in the third or fourth, I don't remember.
The third level.
Third level,
We work-
light bodies.
Yeah, we work a lot with, well, a lot of knowledge of, well, we received this before we kind of got into the understandings of yoga. So we have adapted a little bit the knowledge of yoga because it couples really good with what we teach. So in this level, we do work with the pranic force of the body. We teach how to balance the pranas, the different, there's 10 different winds or values of prana that we can work with. There's more, but those are the ones that are typically known. We also work with the tattvas, so the elements. That's very important. Actually, those are the ones that guides the prana. And so we also work with all the levels of these bodies that we have. In yoga, in Kundalini yoga, we talk about 10. There's an 11th one, but 10 basically. But there's more than that. And so we find out, and this is very common. We can ask the questions now. We're going to start doing some exercises for you to see. But usually there's people missing bodies. And that is because of all the interference that we talked before, chemical things, the type of food, the radiation of Wi-Fi, satellites, whatever. There's bodies that are not with you. And sometimes when they're not here, well, how can you be balanced? Or how can you go higher? So we find out those type of things, we integrate them, we balance them, and we balance the chakras, all the nadis, all the meridians, and we work with them.
Sacred geometry.
We upgrade the system,
Yeah.
to say, we
Activation. Now we start to
activate.
eliminate things like mind settings and emotional things, but we start to activate, start to align, awaken the spiritual bodies that are someplace. And so the person starts to be more aligned, more in their own path. So clarity start to come, mental mind start to come, the hips start to awaken, and many things start to awaken once.
And what happened with this level is that you start increasing the speed of all the processes you live. Very much. Imagine or think about this, because this really is the way it happens. When you're born, we all know this, how do you say the chart, the natal,
Nothing.
no, how do you say the charts of when you are born, you have a specific place, planets, and so on. How do you say that in English? Astrology, yes, yes. Sorry. So when you're born, you get here with certain yeah, potentiality, and I always talk about geometries. Okay, everything is expressed in certain way in geometries, and so if you don't do anything through your life, and things are always evolving to a higher state of being, that is the existence of the universe, well, you will be processing the speed of what's coming in a very old, ancient type of field of consciousness. So that's to say that you maybe in the 60s bought a really nice car, but if you drive the same one in Germany now and kind of go over 100 kilometers per hour, you're going to be really low, and there's accidents that can happen. So in this level, what we do is to upgrade the system to the more recent or even future kind of expression of itself, so you can process the things very fast. So if something happened, emotionally talking, or something happened in the world and so on, then this thing will whoop and go. You will feel it, you will acknowledge it, you will have the wisdom, but it will come and go in a breeze. Open and close eyes, no attachment to it. But if you don't have this type of, healing or upgrades, then what happens is that this happened and it's stuck in time. Oh my God. And you start, having all the triggers start coming out. And so you're lost and your vibration goes down. All the interference energies around are co-created coming to you. And then you're stuck maybe for a long time. So at that level, we upgrade the system and all of that. We teach Reiki at that level too, as part of this. We teach how to manage the energy to heal the pranas and the elementals and all of that. And, well, we teach also some other symbols to work with. And I'm missing a lot of stuff, but you get an idea. That entire process I don't know, I think we did kind of 12 levels into that one thing. And each one of those levels in itself is kind of a good healing practice. So after we finish that level, that is the third level, what is the fourth? I forgot the name.
I think the fourth is the like
And so what was the third?
uh,
So I'm confused now.
the emotions,
There's more
mentally,
levels.
chakra, the Reiki, and I think for the light, the body.
Okay, maybe I explained two levels. I forgot because when we just channeled those levels, but yeah, those are probably the third and fourth levels. By the third, fourth level, when we teach all this thing about upgrade and Reiki and so on, we will teach how to start doing things in a quantum way. And this is very good because by that time, everything that we've been teaching will be depending on your speed and 45, 60-minute practice. You know, like just clearing the energies at the beginning could be a 30-minute practice. If you're not very tuned in and you don't know how much to work with it. That level of Reiki and upgrade and all of that in itself could be easily 60 minutes. So then you have 2 hours. You're not gonna be, doing 2 hours. So what we're gonna start doing when we go up into the levels is that we're gonna activate this very simple thing, but you will be amazed how powerful it is. That is what we call the quantum snap. So when we connect, because in each level we do certain connections and clear, and we say, I don't know the word in English, like anchoring into higher aspect of yourself each time. We will start moving the things we're talking about into quantum snap. That is to say that you just need to do this and everything is done immediately, no time. That is possible while you are kind of practicing, of course, and understanding and feeling. And so we start that little by little. So by the end of Reiki and all of that, the clearing of energies and some part of even the Reiki could be just done by this that we call the quantum snap. And there we start working outside of this perspective of human body. In that level, we start interacting with the multi-dimensions of that we have. That I talked at the beginning. We have, these fractals of our soul in many different jobs, mainly the same job, but in different places, planets, chips, or whatever you want to think about. And we could discover what are they doing if it's our purpose at that time. Like if you're in a big spaceship over the Earth, or if you're in Pleiades or whatever thing, or you're an angel, you're related with this angel or this other thing. Those are aspects that we can discover, but it's not necessary and not important either. Anyway, so we're going to start going into this other aspect of these other dimensions of multi-dimension being that we are. And we're going to a little bit work on that too. Because when we start understanding our oneness, we start understanding that we are the other, that we've been treating in all these levels, the collective as well here on the planet, but we will start realizing that there's other beings. And one of the reasons that I like to say we fractalize our soul in so many different experiences is because we want to try to, it's like probabilities, one of these all fractals, we're awakened to oneness and will help us all. So in a sense, we here on Earth and the body we have, it has certain qualities that not a lot of other fractals maybe have in other planets or in other dimensions. We can access all the dimensions and we can go directly to source. And that is the objective of what we teach, is go directly to source. You're not trying to escape anything, but not trying to make you understand, don't get lost into being extraterrestrial or things like that many people are related with. And so we will work a little bit on understanding that multidimensional aspect and work with it as well. And the final level that we wish to teach, because I don't think we have ever teach it. We have tried for many years, at least 2 or 3.
Will you write something
more details, like not, I was like, not more details that you are.
Well, we have it recorded. Maybe
uh,
you can
I-
look it. You
No,
can see.
I mean the, like, when, how much?
Yeah, we have
Well,
sent it in the group chat. We can send it.
Yeah, like
No problem.
3 points, the most.
Very simple.
important. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye. Thanks again.
So with all this understanding, all this level, and starting to go quantum. Quantum is to say you recognize that you create everything, so you can achieve that from your point of perspective instantly. The last level is to how do you transfer all of that into an instant of time. So that's why we receive it as divine touch, but also this other name, so it could explain a little bit more. So when you get to a certain level of consciousness, of oneness, you can channel all of these levels and everything you have ever studied or known in this life or other lives in one touch. And it's done in an instant, no time. And so that is the last level we want to teach. But to get to that place, it really depends on each one. It's not something that we will open to teach anyone, because you need to be very deep in touch with yourself. You have to have certain level of practice of meditation and find ways of being very balanced in itself. So if you achieve that, and for that reason, we believe what we're going to be teaching will take, maybe weeks or maybe a couple of months, so we can guide processes, type of meditations, and certain things, so you can go to a certain level where you can do this. And then it's just living and practice, and we'll have. And that is kind of a level of mastery that, like the first known Reiki master, I thought it was rain. It's a bar. The first known Reiki master was Jesus. That's what we know when we study Reiki Sui, for example. And what he did was a Reiki, but I think it kind of missing some parts. That's my belief. That's why we teach all of this also. But in a certain level, what he was doing is transferring his consciousness, and that's what we teach at the last level. So the other person can, if it's open and it's the right moment, it can entangle. And so it can just become free as you are. So you have, depending on your level of consciousness and oneness and communion with that, that is what you can give to the other person. So of course, there's a process there to do. But to say for you not to think that it's too complicated, you have, and you will have the tools to know this. You will always have a higher consciousness than the people you're treating. If not, it wouldn't come to you. So you will do the divine touch, and you will be uplifting the other person always.
Talk about the portal.
Oh yes, I forgot about. Well, yeah, because we have to do some things that are putting sleep. So, and maybe we're on time now. Well, one of the first things that we learn or we receive also with this healing and all this story we're talking about is this, we work with a portal, to say, that's the only word we can say. A portal that we got the name after a while of using it, that the name came through like Mahal. And that is a word that doesn't exist, at least I haven't found in relation. And it's the translation that I got from that portal was to express it like the gift of the Divine Mother gift. That portal, when we open it and we work with it, and we will teach more, of course, of that, I like to say it's like a singularity. Singularity in physics, in astrology, in physics, in astronomy and physics, is that thing, like there is a very extreme things happening, that everything is there. So a singularity is that place where you can access everything, everything. So when we start working with that portal and relate with it, we will start feeling things, receiving things, and giving things away. And you have access to everything. You're going to learn how to access all the Akashic records if you relate with that expression and all the information that you need. Nothing is outside of you, everything is within yourself. So you will start learning how to access it. And that is the Maha. So I think, well, any questions? Huh?
That's level 10.
No, actually, we teach that one, I think in the second or the first level, we're gonna teach in divine matrix.
Oh,
So you start relating a little bit and
that's
then,
coming next week.
yes, and you will sense a little bit how it changed the frequency of the space when you open it. And so it's a thing that you can build a relationship with through the process, through the levels. Any questions? This is the most summarized that we can explain. Any process?
Yeah.
It is a process. Yeah.
Process, the journey.
So you mentioned that there is like some difference in learning in there. Because like these teachings is based on like something that you learn somewhere from like a private teacher, and then you blending them together, or extra information you don't, or was the information that is based on teaching on part of your end, like where.
Yeah, well, what we said at the beginning, this is our own. It's not ours, but we download it. It was given to us, not from anyone here on Earth. Of course, to kind of make it to fit in ideas that are already here, we have to talk in languages and expressions that you all relate with. Of course, we did study certain things in the past, like we were masters of Reiki Usui, and we studied certain quantum healing technique from a Spanish guy. And there, of course, there's some influences on that. But all the process is a self-developed channel process that we've been teaching for a long time. So there's no other person physical as teaching this. It's only us. Yeah.
Lucky us.
Huh?
Lucky us.
Yeah, lucky all of us, because if we don't teach, we don't express this energy either, so we can move forward in our own path. So we are all blessed. Yes. So just a few things to, I don't know what time is, but maybe we're really late. Someone have?
It's 5:50.
Yeah, well, almost 2 hours. Yeah.
That's two maps, like the two,
Sun, yes.
24, topics, will that be part of it?
Yes.
Yeah, but we're gonna open that into deeper process. So that's why it's something that you haven't, like you have done it, but you don't understand it deep. We open those. Well, this is something because she studied with us before. We're gonna do a zoom in into the sun, and we're gonna open them in a big process to learn more in depth what some of the things like that. But we're gonna still have those kind of round things called the suns and the rays. Yeah. So
I think we will keep going with the things that they brought.
Feel the
So,
table.
oh, my leg is sleeping.
oh no.
So-
If you want to kill some of us too, I'm
No, yeah, if we have the time, if you need to go, we can go over 1 hour more if that's fine. Whoever needs to go, it's okay. So what I was saying at the beginning is the first level, we're gonna teach you how to use a pendulum. If you know already, maybe this can help clarify things. You don't really need to use this, but it's very good. And I actually encourage people at the beginning to use it, even though if you can use your body or that, just because it's an outside thing. So when you start moving, you're like, what's happening? And if you use your body, sometimes it's yourself and you don't know if there might be something there. So so we teach how to use the pendulum so it can show us the energy and how things are. So for example, my way of measuring the vibration of places to know if they are very high or very low, I have this movement that the pendulum can do, and will start moving in a certain way. I will let it go alone. So if I connect with the space here, for example, it will start moving to in a certain way. And so, for example, what is showing here, and this always happen, and I know people that
I'm like, oh.
that open the spaces. It might challenge the ego, but this place is not holding a good vibration. Okay, that is very typical. I talk about this, you know, if you go to sanctuaries and things like that, at least the ones I've been. That is one explanation. Yeah. That is
kind of come around there easier than.
Yeah.
But running and go and clean the place.
I
Yeah.
have staged this place so many times.
But this is
So we need
but this is a good example why we teach that level about clearing energies, because there is, and this is my experience. I'm not trying to say other people don't do the work good, but I've seen this so many times because I've been working many years on this. Just clearing with sage, or you know, this is something very important to understand. There's nothing outside of it. So clearing with sage or have stones or whatever way shamanic thing you're doing, it's not the tools itself that are clearing. It's you permitting yourself to be the channel to do that. So when we start learning shamanic things or pendulum or clearing with sage, it's not about the smoke that is going there. It's you can maybe believe more on yourself of your capacity to clear space. But if you don't know that, you're never going to clean anything. So if there's not a deep understanding and connection in the process of clearing, it will not happen. Or it might be a little bit, or certain things. So this is why it's very important, all of these first levels that I teach, or we teach in the second. So the energy, it's, for example, it shows that it's low, it's very low. Actually, if you are in this type of, sorry to say, in this type of place and you meditate, it will be difficult to meditate. Your energy will kind of drop down unless you are very powerful in yourself and you're self-illuminated. That is the goal of all of us. You can walk around very, you know, evil places and you can still be in your bubble because you have a strong field of consciousness. That is what we work through the levels we talk about. So, for example, the infusions we work. This is a projection of our consciousness that we put into the water. Water has certain properties, and you may be familiar. So, if you know how to master certain levels of consciousness, you can kind of project yourself into the water, and then the water is yourself. So, all of those bottles hold our true consciousness and understandings of how to do things. So when you spray that into some place, well, it's like, in a way, it's kind of having a healing that we can do. I think that might not be that profound. I don't know. I haven't really measured anything, but it works. It works really good. So, for example, we did one for spaces because people tend not to believe that their houses are, you know, with things, and they are. They usually are. If you go to downtown in Puerto Viejo, and you walk around and there's all these people partying and all these, you know, kind of low vibrational things, and that's okay, it's part of life. If you don't know how to clean yourself from all of that, you go back to your house and you throw all that baggage there. And it keeps coming and keeps coming. And then the vibration comes and bring more and more and more and more. So that's why we did this quantum infusion, so it can help. You know, if you don't know how to do it or you're too low in energy, you just use them. And that will uplift the energy very much.
You have a preference of what you use as a pendulum?
It doesn't matter. You can use a stone with a rope, no problem.
Just your consciousness.
Yes.
Okay.
There's all this belief about if I give it to you and you charge it, and that's belief.
Okay.
The thing we need to learn is that we need to not believe in anything. One of the typical phrases I share because it was a download I had a long time ago is, I don't know how to say it in English, so I'm not sure if it will sound correctly, but it's something like God is God because it doesn't believe in anything. I don't know if that's the correct way, but the understanding of that is that God becomes God because he don't believe in anything. He's everything and nothing, really. Every time we believe in something, well, we're shrinking. We're creating realities in within realities. So the idea is that you lose all of that as much as possible. So nothing is real. It's just a belief. So if you understand that, then you're free. Then you're free.
How this relates to the energy clearing and that we strongly believe that we go to downtown, we get the energy and we drop it off our homes. Wouldn't it be beneficial to believe and not believe that, to believe that we're not getting bad energy and that the mere belief that our homes are self-cleaning energetically, will that be enough to clear the space?
Yes. But the problem is that you are not aware of your unconscious. And so what tends to happen, and we're all in that process, I am myself as well, is that you need to kind of learn what are you co-creating from within that you're not aware of. So that this process also goes toward that goal, to understand where are your core limited belief and start releasing them through also emotions and things like that. So then you can co-create a different space, a different energy. So the thing is that we tend to be very good liars. We lie to ourselves all the time. We're taught to be liars. So no, of course I don't get that energy. I'm super powerful. I do Kundalini or whatever. That is what we do. For example, as a way of teaching. But we tend to lie ourselves. And the idea here is to be open, just to experience and see, understand the energies and know what is that thing that you are creating. And so then you can change.
So you work with releasing core belief.
That is part of the process. We do it in different ways. Obviously, everything is related with that. If you find that Tara have something here, or maybe a crack in the auric field or electromagnetic field, and I heal it, I might be healing something in the unconscious mind as well. So actually, all the approaches of healing are in a certain way releasing emotions or beliefs. So there is different approaches that works differently depending on the person and so on. So, for example, yeah, anyone wanna, if anyone knows how to use a pen, what do you have? Sure.
I can know all the things that you said.
Well, so I was mentioning how the energy, for example, in the spaces and cell phones. Oh, hopefully that's why I will do something with the cell phone. Yeah, cell phones are a nightmare. We all sleep with them next to us, and we have in the pocket or in the purse near us all the time, and that really is. You have to be very strong to live with a cell phone, and that's why everyone now have a cell phone, because it triggers things, it gets information into your field, change your vibration all the time.
Do you think sleeping with it on airplane actually does anything?
No, I believe that the airplane is like a smoking, how do you say, kind of thing. Yeah, of course. How can you know? No, but we can do things with them, but that can work too. There's technology also that you can apply over them. Anyway, so for example, I found a few of them. That's good. So for example, This might stay for a long time or not. We don't know. It just depends on the co-creation here.
Or stage.
But if, for example, but you don't have to throw it here.
Where do you want it? Anywhere. So this is measuring that, not with energy.
There's a stapler over there.
When it moves, for me, when it moves, this is counterclockwise.
Yeah.
It's back, it's low frequency, and depending on the, you know, the open, the diameter kind of thing, it will show how bad it is or how good it is. That's my way of relating with this, and I will be talking more about it. When it starts changing to the other side, for example, clockwise for me, it's saying that the frequency, the energy is uplifting, and it's different. And actually, if you close it, well, we didn't do the exercise, but you can feel it. I could feel it right now, like moving through my body differently, the energy in the plate. So this is something that can be done with something like this if you have it, but the idea is that you learn to master that so you can change the energy.
You think it shifted because of you like thought that in your head you wanted it to, or like probably both?
There's no difference.
Yeah.
How, no, that's what you said before about. Isn't part of it what the energy of the place is like for you, and maybe for someone else it's more up.
Well, it should be, there should be that possibility where maybe Tara lives in her own space and she really truly, when she walks here, don't relate with this energy. Could be. There's there's all possible worlds and possibilities are there. So I can't say no, but in my experience, usually it is. It is that the space that is co-created, it has some low frequency.
Right, and you're talking about really a specific measurement, so you're measuring the space.
Yeah.
To get that is the consistent measurement.
Yes, you can, well, we're not gonna go deeper into this, but you can put a table with numbers and, you know, start figuring out numbers and percentage and things like that to have more accurate measurement. And they can change during the day or weeks or so on.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So is it how far, like, as far as the energy? So like, let's say you're here and there isn't good energy and you walk over there, will it be different energy or how?
When we spray these, for example, what is your question in general?
For the spray too, but either way.
Well,
like-
when I do, for example, work in houses or big spaces, I can do it distantly. I have done it for companies. So there's no limit. I've done it for the downtown of Chile, for example, where the president is and many things go on. I think I did it once to the White House in the States as well, you know, and I figured that there was. Huh? To what? Yeah, it was long time ago, but and so you can do it in all the space at once.
Okay,
but-
so when you're standing here, you're feeling the entire,
Depends on where I focus. I can focus just in this place, or I can open my focus to all the land and all the places. The pendulum or just the feeling of it. But the energy, I don't know if someone ever like felt a little different right now. There's a opening.
Someone who would like to measure the vibration of yourself, the smell, and have some smell inside.
Yeah, we put some just for like maybe marketing kind of thing. We put some drops of essential oil.
Like she was saying that like for bad energies or like a bad spirit or like an entity, you don't really like a certain smell. So that would be also a way for them to leave the space because certain different smell is also introduced.
Yes and no. Like if you understand the way we create reality, that is also a projection of yourself. So it's never anything outside of you that is doing anything. It's you creating that experience. So then you become one.
Permission slip, like
Yeah, a permission slip, like something that you do outside that gives you the unconscious permission to believe that that thing is going to do something, but at the end you are doing it. So there's this co-creation, we all co-created ideas, the incense or the essential oil. It's such a big co-creation that in a sense, when you apply it without any knowledge, it will affect because we all have that unconscious connection to the collective. So
I was thinking using the aura one.
okay.
Someone would like to measure the vibration of yourself? How? Just sitting here, he's measuring your.
Yeah, the thing is that now that I don't know if someone can, measure it, but you can feel it at least. But I'm the one showing and same time measuring. This is conflict of interest,
You want?
maybe in your mind.
Can sit here.
So remember to be honest. So close your eyes and
You can't your mind about volunteering.
Yeah.
no, but
You were doing.
no, we're gonna use the spray, but then we're gonna do a few other things with everyone if it's possible. So what I'm trying to say is that try to get in touch with yourself, feel how you are, feel whatever is going on within yourself, if there's any emotion. Try to connect with your energy internally and maybe even the energy that surrounds us. You can close your eyes and think that there. Try to connect and feel a little bit and also observe your mind. How crazy, how many thoughts. In yoga, we say there's 10,000 thoughts per minute in a normal human. And I guess it's right. Imagine. So, well, we don't need to touch, but I will touch you just to see what's going on. So this is showing certain low vibration in general with her. And it might be related also with what's going on in the place and or something, not necessarily. So this can let's.
When you say low vibration,
Well, it's to say that it drops you down. I don't know. It's like if you are into a place that I measure that is like this low vibration, your energy will be stuck. You will have less pranic energy.
when you're measuring it, right? So when you say low, like below 50, on a field.
I don't care about measuring, but we will teach you about numbers because many people want to have things more, by the book. But numbers are not important. It's the magnitude, it's the magnitude of change that you can do that makes the difference. That is the important.
Okay.
Okay, for me, it could be -100, for you, it could be -1112. It doesn't really matter, but then what the increase.
The point that I'm asking about it, making is exactly the measurement of change. That's what I'm.
Yeah, that is the only thing that's important. I measure it by how it moves to one side or the other and the width of the movement, the diameter of the circle. So, yeah, get in contact again with this. Breathe and breathe.
So this is one to raise the vibration of the person. You
It also clears things
say.
out of the system. So the important thing is not how the pendulum will show anything, it's how she might feel maybe certain subtle changes. It is very possible, very powerful to feel it. But it also depends on how is your mind.
So how the family now level side. So.
Oh, we're marketing our products, but it's to show the same thing that we can do without that. Did you feel
Our
anything?
teachings are there in this way.
You felt the calm. So she says that she felt suddenly a little more calm. That is immediately an expression of your system acknowledging a different state of being. So well, we can go deeper into maybe things that each one you can have. So just, I don't know, maybe a few other, 2 or 3 other examples we can do. Anyone wanna go to the bed there and be, how do you say that, guinea pig?
Hello, I'll be a guinea pig.
Okay. Bueno, lo que sea que. Oh, you want to go? Yeah, when you have, keep your head here in your back. So. You can ask me, if you want, you can ask me something like, why don't you look into the aura or chakras or something? I don't know. If you wish, you can request something. But we don't need, I will show with the pendulum just how it moves. So it depends. I can measure, for example, again, the vibration of the expression of the energy. But for me, my measurement is slow also. Okay?
Can you,
It's just my
can you go to the other?
So there are things that you can find out that she might, for example, I mentioned the things about the spiritual bodies. She's missing two of those spiritual bodies. We can say light bodies. Okay, so we can integrate that. There's a process that we do that takes a little more time, but we can also do it in a different way. I don't know if you felt anything right now when I did it now, but usually you can feel certain shapes. So yeah, they are integrated. So those are the things, for example, that you will find, and what it does when something is missing is that you're missing some piece of the puzzle, basically. So, for example, there's some blockage in the there's some blockage in the heart chakra. There's also a procedure we teach of doing this that it takes a little longer, but what I say is that then you can do the snap, the quantum snap, the name we put it, when you know how to. So then we can use the pendulum just to know if it moves like this, it's a yes for me. If it moves this way, it's a no for me. Okay, then we can teach you how to change the movement so it can be the same for everyone. It's easier. So then you can keep going around and you can see, for example, there's a disconnection down here with the chakra that goes to earth. So there might be some more grounding to do for earth. So we can also help from that.
And in my case, I was checking about programming, mental beliefs, ideas, or emotions. So I feel I received, I don't use the pendulum, but the same. That she needs to unlock a program. Yes, a program that doesn't help her to value herself. Okay? Maybe she's waiting for another person to value her or someone else, but you know, we are creating this world, and she needs to value herself and to be free, to be herself. So I'm taking this program now. And I'm activating the truth. Because believe that I don't value myself, or believing that somebody else needs to value myself, because we are in duality, we are in separation. That's not true. But it's the truth that we are one, that we are being loved all the time, that our soul is loving us in this moment, that God is loving us in this moment. And we are valued. That's the truth. We are here in there because it's important to be here. Our soul chooses to change, and it's something important to be. So she's valued. Everybody is. That's the truth. So we are activating the truth. So to a part of what is going to be. releasing separation, releasing the old belief of the pattern, but activating the oneness, activating what the soul is bringing, what spirit is bringing. So changing the programming and changing the beliefs, what does to us is change perception of who we are, what we are doing here, and what we can do, what we can do with the energy, what we can do with our presence here. So we start to get rid of our limitations and to expand our awareness of who we are and connecting the power of being that God. So we have to program. Another thing that we like to teach, and it's really, really something that we discovered through the process of teaching, is that many of us in the subconscious mind, we don't want to be happy. And if your subconscious mind don't want to be happy, you will
Never be happy.
yes, you will sabotage yourself. I can say that. Sabotage all the time. But you will sabotage all the time. So you will not get what you really want. Or maybe what you want is not what you really want. So taking this in the person, that is part of the process. And I will take him here. Okay, so first subconscious doesn't want to be happy. So we take that. And always when we get rid of something, we activate something. That is again the truth. Okay? We came here to be happy. Our soul came to enjoy that. Be free to play, to dance, to sing, whatever you want to do. You're free to do it. You're free to get it in it.
Okay, so
In
when you're resisting something, like, my question is going to be how to activate it. So if I don't know how to do that, I need those things.
Yes, we teach how to do it.
Yeah, we're not gonna fix
So,
it
for example,
right now. We don't
Yeah,
have.
no,
for
I know,
example,
but I'm just.
when we love being happy, want to be happy, we use frequency, love, light, and wisdom. Yes, light and wisdom. So we activate some frequency, and in the mind change. It's all about frequency, vibration, energy, intention. So now, now everything here. So what happened? Just doing that, somebody will change decisions, choices will change. Before she was saying no to something, now she wants to say yes to something or over. Yeah.
Can I fall back?
Yes.
The same limiting belief.
Sorry?
Can those limiting beliefs come back? Can I
Yes.
fall back?
See,
If you're not aware of how that system automatically work in you, yeah, you can get back the same patterns, the same idea, the same limited beliefs.
Like
That's why it's very important to be conscious of it, to be present.
vibration. If you go down into low vibration, the beliefs start to come, the negative minds.
Yeah, that's why we always teach, we encourage people to start learning maybe yoga, breathing, meditation. You know, if we just teach this a weekend and you go home, 98% of the people suddenly start disengaging with the knowledge, with the practice, and goes back to the same old behaviors in certain ways. Some of them know, but in the long run, they might come back a little bit at the same point. So that is why we always teach how to think. You know, we teach certain, in the process of all the levels, we're going to teach certain breathing techniques, something that you might already know because you have done things with us, but that you can use so you can stabilize your frequency and the consciousness.
I can confirm that part because first week, like from January to maybe March, we have daily meditation and rest. I was thinking, like, I was feeling so great. I was that changed my diet. I feel so great. I was taking it for granted. I did, and then so, only later on I realized, oh, where's that time where I felt so great? Like why? I couldn't explain why. Like that.
Well, it has to be with your own self-practice. This can be very powerful to learn and to do, but what are you gonna do later during the day or the next day or the week after? If you're not present, you're not conscious about your decision and how you feel and how you connect with everything, then you're maybe not gonna stay the same level. So that is why you have to learn processes for sustaining yourself in good shape.
And could you tell something?
It like yawned at one point, which usually is like an energy shift, and it felt, I don't know, like energy just in my body, almost like sliding side to side. And then I did think I felt something in my mind while you were talking about the heart, I think, maybe that's what you were doing at the same time.
We did kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
With Navkiran Satya.
And then when you're talking about the root chakra, vibrates that.
So what we do with the person is her higher soul. Telling us what to do. Yes. So we have a specific way how to get there, how to search that information that I will follow the signs that you were mentioning. So we have a specific way for you how to get. Okay, she has frustration. Get rid of it. She doesn't in the unconscious mind is believing that she doesn't want to be happy. Okay, because she's guiding us in this process, and that is what we do. So we have many different things that we can approach a person in many different layers, because each one of us is like a universe. So in different ways, we can reach a person to help her to go more in a center way, go into a more balanced way, in a more neutral mind, so that person can reach and connect with her, his soul, and the presence of divine divinity. That is the purpose. So that person can reach out, get out of all that interference energies and those emotional that are there and those beliefs and those mental things, and we activate all the structure of sacred being that is that person, so that person can awake to their true self.
Do you see shifts in people that you help, like in their life?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes there's people that come and you do something and they're like, I kind of feel a little more peace. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that nothing happened. There's so much disconnection of the mind with the body and the senses, the higher senses, the spiritual senses, that they can be very different after a session, but their mind doesn't let them, feel it or kind of grasp that. So, but yeah, there's people that their life have changed for just one session. It just depends on the right moment. I remember the first time, this is a story of us as a couple, very briefly, but when I let you know at the beginning how we met again, and I was in my lowest kind of place, and she was coming from this very high point. I felt something inside of myself that I wanted to invite her out, but that was kind of impressive because at that time I used to drink and smoke weed and all of that. So the time I met her, I was under all the effects of it. But even then, when I saw her, I felt like a movie, I felt a movement in my heart. So that got my attention despite all of these things. So I invited her. Well, the short story is that the only idea I had to be with her was to ask her to give me Reiki. I had never received Reiki before. So I found her number, I called her, and I'm like, can I have a Reiki session with you? Yeah, of course. So I went to meet her for the Reiki session. Not knowing anything about Reiki at the time I did it, I didn't know anything about spirituality or healing at all. So I went, I placed myself here, waiting the right moment to invite her out or something. And she did the Reiki, but it was so Reiki that at that time you probably were a second level or something. I don't know. Anyway, when it finished and I opened my eyes, I was in a, I can't explain how different I felt. It was so profound, the change I felt at that moment, that I started telling everyone that I know that they had to experience Reiki. It was amazing, my change. I was from being in the bottom to being in a space of openness and gratitude and love that I never felt it. So all my family came to visit her before I invited her out, and other people. And by talking to everyone else about my experience, I realized a lot of people have received Reiki. No one had the experience I had. So then later on, I understood that there's certain moments in time where it's the right moment to receive certain things, and then those things can transform your life forever. That was one of my experiences that started changing my life. So I'm devoted to it. So yeah, that can be a little. Anyone else want to come just to check something out? You already have a little bit of it. You want to come? Oh, we can have, no, can come. We can do Chango a little bit. So of course, we're just showing certain things, there's procedures, there's steps and things that we can follow. Yeah, I was already there. Yeah, so she actually mentioned what I thought that you were gonna come, and that was the reason why. But so she said, like, why don't you check me for the second level? All these energy interferences and entities and black magic and things like that. So no, yeah, it's just to refer to something, just different ways of the energy to be expressed. So yeah, there is we can say outside interference of, I will name those things just for general purpose of entities. There's certain level of black magic, and this is something that probably all of you have in certain level too. We're not checking for. So all these things can be, you can receive it and can be activated in you for different things, even watching a movie. But there's sometimes people that knows what we know, or you know, that just can do it in the opposite side of the coin. Now, once you know what we know, you can do harm. It's your choice. But that's why we like to dress in white. Yeah.
Okay, so when we send light, let's say we send light to Bill Gates. Is that not, like, he doesn't want it to light, so is that like his version of black magic? You know what I mean?
Did you send light of that converting black
Like,
magic?
like, say we send love and light to like Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And, but he doesn't want the light, so is that like negative for him, like it's.
Okay, good point. That's why we always connect and ask. The higher self, the soul of the person, the spirit of the person, the higher guide. Because if you intend to, and this is very important, good to you answer, we teach this also in the process, that if you try to send light to someone without the permission, you're doing harm. This is typically the thing we found in many kids. You know, the kids don't do good in grades in the school, and everyone asks, I don't know if it happens in your country, right? In our country, everyone start praying, turn on candles and things like that. Oh, please get I don't know the numbers to go that you pass a test in the state, but for us it's a 4. So if everyone praying for getting a 4, even a 7, but no one's taking care that the fact that maybe the kid needs to have a bad grade to go through a process of self healing, understanding. So if everyone is pushing for the kid to get a good grade, and he actually gets a good grade, you are doing a good thing that have a negative outcome for the person. So that's why it's very important to always be connected and ask for that permission. I think well, what I think, that's what I would say. But Bill Gates and all of these people that we can say they have something there, but are manipulating things because of what is going on in the world. They're also asking for help. So I'm pretty sure that if most of us ask, they're gonna be open to receive because they already know that they are late into what they want to do, and there's no way they're gonna win, whatever win means for anything. So let me work on. Well, all of one of many, a few of these things are old, so it might be even from 7 years or 10 years. So some of them are there. You can always ask if you want. You don't need to, but you can figure out dates, moments, persons that affect what you are finding. We don't encourage to find that because you go to a rabbit hole, and many times it's not even good to tell the person, depending on their level of consciousness and knowledge.
Remember once the woman asked Satya to clean a house. She was trying to sell it and she couldn't for years. And she made it clean and she sold it in today.
Wow.
That can happen, but doesn't mean that I will sell things. If it's for the higher purpose of everyone, it helps. But you just open the option.
Yeah, it's what
Divine.
happens like change the path for something. So this helps us to clean our own path of cleans the path for the person to co-incarnate. That's what for me.
Well, can you share anything?
Okay, yeah. Did I go?
Yes.
I told my spirit in the language that she pulled that, like, let's call them, black things out of my soul. And then when you were, I think you hear three things, or like you did three snaps, right? And the second one I felt tingling down my body, which was that?
I was taking out psychic attacks, things, bad things or lower things that were heavy, and also I check your unconscious mind, want to be happy, and was no at the beginning, so I didn't. Something else. I don't know.
Well, again,
I would see that was pretty much.
Okay.
the important thing is just to feel a little better. That's the final. It doesn't matter the names, as you say, it doesn't matter what names we say, so the things we need to relate in a language. If there's no language when we're doing it. Yes, yeah. So at the end, it's how you feel, something you can feel things moving, going out, or integrating in yourself. And that is beautiful, but also there's sometimes people don't feel anything. That's we don't, there's everything is replicable. So I think it's okay for now. Is there anyone that wants to work something out or one final check? You? Okay.
That cool?
Vamos give me a second. Okay, Chan, close your eyes. Relax. You feel you feel something different? Happy, happy, you're with happy. Anything you want to say? Thank you. You're ready.
You're ready.
You have new energy, you. Now you want to stay. Well, that's the way to express it. It's good. We need to have something. Okay, Samantha. Is there anything that you have intuition of you or something going on? That's okay.
I'm like super heavy. It's more soothing that you like. moving stuff out. No, I'm good.
Okay, this is like if that's your friend. Well, maybe you're practice to understand what that is. Yeah, you also have this interference, like what I work with you the other time, a little bit. No, really, the knowledge that you gather creates the reality. So I would share something a little bit, but Samantha have gotten all this, and I did go to that rabbit hole about all this idea of the entities as reptilians and all these names. And when when you start gathering that information, you're activated in your experience. And so it's okay, it's part of it, it's not bad or nothing, it's just what it is. But when you relate with that information and you bring it as a reality to you, then it can harm. So last time I met her in the beach, I did clear out all those connections and all those energies, but some of them came back. Maybe because you still watch certain types of channels in YouTube, or you follow certain people that talk too much about that. And it's not that it's bad to know those knowledges, but you need to choose what is your path. You don't need to believe in the information unless you're sure that that is for your greatest good. That's why we connect with the higher self and we kind of ask. Okay. So that might help calming a little bit the mind. So the last thing we're gonna do is that. Okay, we're late. That is falling asleep. Now, okay. What I'm doing now is charging the pranic energy in her, balancing. It's very, I think when I did a healing in your house, I told you to feel this, that you expanded, like your vision also opens a little bit. When our field of energy, not only the auric field, but all the layers of them, but mostly related with the auric field of the pranic body, it's shrink. It's always related with a mind that is in a stress mode. You can see only what the pupils there are seeing, and you don't see a big picture. You don't even feel the big picture. So when I, for example, I work into giving the energy and opening the field, her mind and every part of the system will open itself, so you feel more balanced and you're connected with everything around yourself. And when you feel that experience, it is really nice. And of course, it should be the way we need to feel it. Did you feel anything?
More relaxed. Not really like comfortable.
Mind a little thing.
Yeah, right.
Quiet?
All the things we did affect the mind. And yeah, one of your, I don't know if you say the goals right now, or your mission is to learn how to manage. So you study Kundalini, so that is the path of understanding the mind and go to the treasure. Thank you. Gracias. Any other question or before we do this? Any question, comment?
Richard, do you want to?
Sure. Okay. You. Thank you. Want to take anybody else's? Thank you. Yeah. What you need? You saw the one at the time? Yeah. Sorry. We can go for a very long time. We're gonna do that now. Did you bring your stone? What did you bring? Here? We can place it here. So why they didn't finish? Well, if you know, you can sense, but also you can make, for example, the vibration of a self confidence. So what I was saying is that if we carry this with us all the time, it kept draining our energy, it's making a mess of our mind all the time.
Ready?
Sometimes even the stone, who is the stone? Well, it holds the low energy, the low vibration as I met. And many of the jewelry, how do you say that? Yeah, that you wear, they might also be going down your energy.
You have yours? Yeah, bring it here.
Is anything good energy? Like,
Yeah, of course, your soul.
but like any stones on the table.
Well, it's not that the stone when it come out of earth is already bad. What happens is that everything that moves around, people hold in a certain level the consciousness of the people that harvest it, or that they are in touch with. Today from the picture. Yeah, you have to buy it. So when the stone is taken from the ground, usually people that work on taking them, their treatment is really bad. And probably they have a lot of problems with their family and so on. So all the things in a supply chain, for example, the things you buy in a grocery, even if it's organic food, if you measure it, you're gonna mostly all the time know that the vibration is bad. So we tend to think that we eat organic, and of course it's very into the chemical aspects of it sometimes, because many times there's the light and how they're grown up. But energetically speaking, everything that goes through the hands of humans that are struggling with their lives are going to be charged. So yeah, so imagine you go and buy a glass of a bottle of water, and that even if it's from the rainforest here in Costa Rica, but all the people around the supply chain was mad with their wife and their bosses and all of that, then you're drinking that, and then you suddenly drink it and you feel bad. Well, because you get that information in your feet. So that is why stones can have bad energy. And also the point of the stone, they can throw like laser kind of beams that can be really, really damaging too.
Right now,
You can. So obviously we're gonna teach this in different levels how to work with the thing.
Can I see how it works? This is for the face, but also can work with feet. Can you finish?
Yeah, we can, then I'm gonna add another section.
I know. Yeah, can you measure everything? Like the,
The average,
like how,
yeah, the average vibration of everything. Yeah,
how it flows?
yeah. Well, then you're gonna learn how to measure things and it's more fun. But now you
One
just,
phrase.
just need to believe in what we're saying. Sometimes that is.
One phrase now.
Yeah, it's going to the positive, still not, it could go higher. Because, well, we don't program necessarily that to work as with some certain things, but it goes to the positive side, so if you spray it over the thing, it will increase the vibration of health. So what I was gonna do is to do a process that I do with anything can work with this, but it can be more stable in the long run if it's crystal or have crystalline or crystal thing. So the cell phones with screen and certain materials inside are crystalline or silica based, so it can be done as this bioenergy shield that I was talking about. So when they do that, then you carry those things. For example, a cell phone, you go in a meeting or you have lunch with your family, you just place it there. It will be delivering good vibes, to say it simply. And you can try it. You can see if you have struggles in the communication in your family or someone, you just place it there and just be aware. And the communication will be different. So also, it will help protect a little bit of the information that comes into you, but of course it depends on at the end of the day what you need. So yeah, I will.
Also, you can see how the tendon now is faster. And the diameter, the diameter.
So we can adjust the size, well, the size of the sphere that emanates, it depends a little bit in the structure of the thing, but we can also measure how far they can go. I think the lowest will be about a meter, and there's gonna be probably this big one, this one, the stones, especially, yeah, they can go up to 3 meters. Everything around that area will be more, positive, more energetic, more into the high vibration. The problem with the cell phone is that the emanation of information affects obviously everything I do. So what I have seen is that when you do this in the cell phone, it can last for maybe weeks, maybe days. It just depends also on the information you see in the phone. You're looking about Bill Gates and vaccinations or whatever rabbit hole, well, that tends to start mixing things and the phone can stop emitting good vibes. That's as far as I know. But all of these other things tend to stay like that maybe forever, unless someone else intentionally do something to them or you unconsciously for some reason want to change them. So if you have this when you meditate or when you do healing or just for the purpose of maybe making better energies around the group of people or your family, just be aware of it. You can feel it.
Yes, I heard of this one, there was a specific vibration.
I didn't review all of them individually. I just did an average and I look for some. But I can ask. This one was pretty much positive. Who is this? Yeah, it was not in the negative, but still a little bit. So the nice thing about learning how to do all of this is that you can check the past, present, and also work in the future. Future is a little more tricky. We're going to explain a little more about that. Okay. Thank So beautiful. So powerful now.
What exciting.
We can help heal.
Like personal.
And yeah, if you're interested to start next week, sleep, well, we don't know if we're gonna have the minimum amount of people. So if you have someone that might be interested and you already have a little bit more understanding, please invite them. We can try. If there's a certain amount of people, we can try maybe doing the same thing next Wednesday, just before starting on Saturday.
How many do you need for the course?
Well, we usually try to have a minimum of 6.
Yeah, I'm interested for Reiki 1 because Filipino, like, values.
Okay, yeah, we can send this out to you. The thing about Reiki 1 is that we also need hopefully a group. So for now, you're the only.
Wait, so I'm confused. What's next week?
Well, this weekend we're supposed to do Reiki 1, Sui Reiki, but there's no demand. It's just too much effort for us. So you understand. That's why.
Yes.
Oh, be careful. If you do something, you can pray. And the following weekend, we're gonna do the divine matrix communication. That is the first level that we talked today. And then the following weekend, we're gonna do the Reiki School level 2. That would be for you. Hopefully, we have some other people interested, we can do it. If not, we're gonna move all of these to February when we come back from the country.
You're also in Chile, right? Are you living here? Or
We live here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's why we try to offer this online as well. Okay. So we're probably gonna do it online at least once. You're not staying for a long time?
No, 2 weeks.
Yeah, but maybe you can come in February, I guess. Okay.
In a few years.
And if anyone interested in the Divine Matrix workshop, the free, yeah. So let's try to see if we can, maybe there might be some other one that are interested in it. That would be beautiful. Yeah. We send it to the group. We are not good in marketing and expressing the things and maybe. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. We don't know because we always say the things in different ways all the time, it depends on. We don't know.
You're consistent though. That's what, you always put it out there, so we always see it, which is good, Have to listen.
Yes, but. Well, yes, I know. In a sense, it's because we don't really know how to communicate briefly all of what we do. So when someone asks me, what is this? I need hours to explain. It's for me, I don't know how to say it in one. I have